Good evening, brothers and sisters. Wherever you are, this is Brother Chukwemeka. Some time ago, I did a video in which I requested or I pleaded with the Igbo people to come back to Omenani, to return to our tradition. And for those of you who are not Igbo, this message will equally benefit you, as I always encourage people to go back to their tradition, whatever that may be. It's far better than the pagan religion they're currently practicing called Christianity. But in this series of videos, there were like 5 parts of that series. I explained why it is important and what the steps are going back to the original Igbo tradition. Today, I want to explain why we have to read the Bible as we come back to the tradition. Some people will see it as contradictory. I'm talking about Omenani, and I'm also talking about reading the Bible. A number of people have requested that in the comments. Today, I want to explain it because the core of the message today is this. As we, as Igbo people, and I have shown lots of proof in my channel that the original Bible, the original Hebrew Old Testament Bible, was actually talking about the Igbo people, not the Jewish people, not the white men or anything. It's the Igbo people. The word Igbo is what the Europeans call Hebrew. Okay, if you don't believe me, just write Igbo and tell a European to pronounce it. They will still pronounce it Hebrew today. So that is our tradition. It was stolen from us and it was written down. By doing so, the Most High provided us an opportunity to capture what has been taken from us. And that is what I want to explain today in this video. For me to make my point, I have to tell a personal story that happened to me. In 1996, there's a village in Anambra State called Abagana. I was in that village that year, and I was going to church. I was going to church in Abagana. The name of the church is, I think it's St. Martin's Catholic Church. I think it's St. Martin's. I was going to the church with my friends, and on our way, we met an elderly man on the way, and this man is about maybe in early 60s, or he could be younger, I don't know. So he asked where we're going. We told him we're going to the church, and he asked where our Bibles were, because we weren't going with any Bible. I told him that we'll buy a bulletin when we get there, that we don't need the Bible, we can buy a bulletin when we get there. And the man looked at us. We had a lengthy conversation, but in essence, what he told me specifically was that the reason I'm going to this church is because of the bulletin. That instead of reading the Bible, I'm reading a bulletin. That the reason I'm going to church is because I don't read the Bible. If I read the Bible, I will realize that I don't have to go to church. The Bible, okay, that the only reason I'm going to church is because instead of reading the Bible, I'm reading a bulletin. That the church gave me a bulletin to read instead of a Bible. That was 1996, so it's been a while. But what the man said stayed with me. And that's what you see, usually when people hear the word Bible, immediately their mind goes to Jesus, Mary, Joseph, Pontius Pilate, or whatever. New Testament character. They don't pay any attention to the Old Testament. And the reason I said this in my video where I talk about how the New Testament was invented, I explained that that's why they called it old. When something is called old, that thing is, you are automatically programmed to discard that thing. That's just the way you are programmed. That's the programming you've received. When they call something old, you've been programmed to discard it. But brothers and sisters, I'll keep saying this. The real Bible is the Old Testament, not just the first 5 books of the Old Testament. That's all you need for the real Bible. The New Testament is a bunch of reports written by the Romans to their emperors and whatever. Those are letters. So maybe a letter that Paul wrote to Corinthians, of which you are not from Corinth. If you are an Igbo man, you are not from Corinth. You are not from Rome. You are not from, I don't know, Ephesus or whatever. So you shouldn't be reading those letters. Let the Ephesians read their letter. You, as an Igbo man, you have to read about the Old Testament that talks about your tradition. Now, the reason I tell Igbo people that we need to understand the Bible for us to understand our tradition, especially now that it has been taken from us, is because during colonialism, a lot of things happened in Igbo land. I have a plan to do a video on things that happened during colonialism, where after the slave trade ended, or supposedly ended, and then you have all these so-called Christian missionaries roaming rampant in our communities. What they did, they methodically destroyed our religion. They methodically destroyed our tradition. And most Igbo people, when you hear me say this, you will not even understand it, or you will not believe it. You will think that what was done to the Igbos is the same thing that was done to the Yorubas or to the Ashantis or to whoever. But that's not true, brothers and sisters. That is not true. The Igbo country was the most penetrated of any tribe in Africa. These are written record. You can verify that for yourself. The Igbos were the most penetrative of any tribe in Africa. The Igbos were the most affected in this colonialism thing of any tribe in Africa. So what they did to us, especially for instance, there was a time when they came around, they invaded our places of worship. They destroyed our places of worship. They paid mercenaries to go in and steal our items of worship in different communities. The lie we have been told is that they were carrying away alosi in our, but it's not alosi they took. Brothers and sisters, it wasn't the alosi they took. They took our ikenga. And I will do a video to explain this later on. What they took was not alosi. What they took were the things that held our communities together. It has nothing to do with alosi. And I'll explain it in that video. So you need to understand that things have been taken from us, and the only way the Most High provided for us to come back, to get back those things that have been taken from us, is from the document that the people who took it wrote, and that is the Bible. If I ask you now what happened in your village 300 years ago, you don't know. Nobody who's alive knows anything like that today. So the Bible provides an opportunity for us to learn, to relearn some of the things that have been taken from us. And all we need to do is to combine the knowledge of the Bible with our tradition as we know it today. Because those who interpreted it may have obviously misinterpreted it and then added their own things. We have to filter those things out and get them out as we practice our tradition. Now, the scripture tells us that truth is verified by the testament of two or more witnesses. So don't take it alone from me, okay? Don't take it as what I am saying alone. Let us go to what other people have said. For instance, the first black man to write an autobiography is an Igbo man. His name is Ola Odekwonu. It has been proven that he comes from Ihiala in Anambra State. And he wrote that when he read the Bible, that our people, the Igbo people, that we are the people of the Bible, he explained our tradition to the best of his knowledge and the biblical how they correspond with the biblical tradition. Brothers and sisters, it's a proven fact that the people of the Bible were dark-skinned. So that takes out the Jewish people, because the Jewish people are not dark-skinned. So the people they are talking about are the Igbos. Those are the Hebrews they are talking about. And he wrote, I quote him directly, that our tradition, the Igbo tradition, is the same as the biblical tradition in their pastoral state before King Solomon, before they started having kings. This is what he wrote. And I recommend every Igbo man should have that. So if you don't believe me that the Bible is describing our tradition, at least you've heard it from the very first Igbo man who in 300 years ago in 1785 wrote the book and explained it. Now, let's assume that you don't believe me and you don't believe Ola Odekwonu. Let's listen to the white man. There was a white man that came to Igbo land and so-called missionary. His name is Thomas Basden, and he was so-called evangelizing, which he wrote a book about our people. It's called Among the Igbos of Nigeria. And that book is as demonic as they come. I don't recommend that book at all. The book is terrible. The way this man painted our culture is beyond belief. And by the grace of the Most High, I will do a video to expose the lies that demon lied on our head in that book. I will do a video to expose it because such things should not go unchallenged in our communities. Our children should not learn about our story from demons like that. But even this demon, Thomas Basden, even he could not deny the fact that we were the biblical people. Even him, despite the vile things he wrote about us, he could not deny the fact that our tradition is 100% biblical. He could not deny. Let me quote what was written about the book. He said the Anglican missionary G.T. Basden, and I'm quoting right here. The Anglican missionary G.T. Basden was so sure the Igbos were of Israel, he told other missionaries to familiarize themselves with Old Testament law so as to better witness to the Igbo, because the Igbo lived like ancient Israelites. This is what is written about his book, that he was so sure. Again, brothers and sisters, this man lived in Igbo land 1921, almost 100 years ago. That's when he wrote his book. So it was about 1900 that he lived there, because he lived in Igbo land 20 years before he wrote the book. So more than 100 years ago. Okay, that he was so sure that we are the biblical people that he told other missionaries to go and read the Old Testament law. So, brothers and sisters, when you hear me talk about Bible, I have nothing to do with New Testament. To be honest with you, this is September. The whole of this year, I've not read the New Testament. I have no plans of reading it. And not that, again, I don't say that it's waste. It's a waste. But I spend my time reading about the laws of my fathers as articulated in the Old Testament. That's what I like to spend my time doing. Thomas Basden was so sure that we Igbos are the people of the Bible that he told the other missionaries, the other demons that call themselves missionaries, he told them that they should go and read the Old Testament first before they can witness to us. Let me quote what he said directly in his book. For those of you who have read his book, I think it was page 58, or the copy that I have. He said that the Igbo country lies within the recognized Negro belt. And the people bear the main characteristics of that stock. Clearly, he's saying that the Igbos are Negroes, and we have the main characteristics of the Negroes. We are not Hamites or whatever you want to call. So we are a Negroid folk. He now said that there are certain customs which rather point to Levitic influence at a more or less remote period. This is suggested in the underlying ideas concerning sacrifice and in the practice of circumcision. The brothers, what he is trying to explain here, what this demon is trying to explain here, is that our custom reminds him of the book of Leviticus. Children of God, I dare you, if you read Leviticus and you read Deuteronomy and you don't see your culture, then you are not an Igbo man or woman. Just, I dare you. So for those of you who say we shouldn't read the Bible in Omenani, you've not read the Bible. You are talking about New Testament. I'm talking about the Old Testament. That is our tradition. How many people have said it? I've quoted aloud the Kwano, and I've quoted the demon Thomas Basden that came here to so-called evangelize our people. He said it clearly. Now, if he knows that we are people of the Bible, what is he trying to evangelize us for? But I'll do a video to discuss his book on another date. He now went further to say that the language also bears several interesting parallels with Hebrew idioms. Children of God, this is not me. This is Thomas Basden saying that the Igbo language, it bears several interesting parallels with Hebrew idioms. You see, most people now, I see people on YouTube, they say they are speaking Hebrew, and they're speaking like Arabic, something I don't know. What you're speaking is Aramaic, or I'm sorry, what you're speaking is Yiddish. That is not Hebrew. What they speak in Israel today is not Hebrew. The original Hebrew word is the original Igbo word. That is it. That is what it is. For instance, In the Bible, you get names like Noah, right? The Europeans call our father Noah. But in Igbo land, there's a name called Onowa. Onowa means the beginning of the earth. That is what the Europeans interpreted as Noah. Onowa. If you don't believe me, write Onowa on the paper and look for a European and say, read this thing for me. He pronounced it Noah. That is the Igbo word. And I've done video to explain that Chukwu Abiyama is what the Europeans interpreted as God of Abraham. So people who are moving around bearing the name Abraham, they should be bearing the name Abiyama. That is the real Hebrew Igbo word. In all over Igbo communities, you see names like Abba, you see names like Abba, that is it's biblical names. You see names like Nebo, you see names like Nebo. These are all, you see names like Ache, you see names like Isu. These are all biblical names, and I will be explaining this in future videos. So, what else do you need to know? What else do you need to hear for you to believe that this is our tradition? The Bible is talking about us. It breaks my heart when I see Igbos saying that we are Israel, we are a lost tribe. We did not get lost, we are right here. Nobody got lost anywhere. We are not Israel. We cannot claim parity with people who stole our identity. That is a no-no. We cannot claim parity with them. They stole our identity, and they have admitted that that identity was fabricated. The professor in Hebrew University in Israel, in Jerusalem today, Professor, I think it's Dr. Shlomo Sand, that is his name. He has written 2 books to explain that the identity, the Jewish identity, was actually stolen. It was invented. It's not their original identity. And there have been so many people that come up with that document. Why do we even need to be discussing this? So, children of God, this is what I mean. When I say that we should read the Bible to understand our Omenani, I'm not joking about it, because the Bible gives us a window into time past for us to understand what our fathers did and why they did what they did. For instance, I give an example with the Osu system. A lot of people are saying that Osu is bad, Osu is this, Osu. No, Osu is like shunning that is done by the Amish, or what is done by the Americans, where they shun some countries and the rest of them. That's what our ancestors did. And if you don't read Deuteronomy chapter 7, if you don't know that we are people of the Bible, you don't read Deuteronomy chapter 7, you will not understand why that was done. There is no other part of this world where if you go and dedicate yourself to the God of the land, you will be shunned by the communities. This tells you that those gods are not the God of the land. That is a very simple thing. Once, if you go and do something and the community shun you, that means what you're doing is not in line with the community. It's an existential thing. People shouldn't be arguing this. So those of you who don't know that we are people of the Bible, those of you who don't understand Deuteronomy chapter 7, those of you who don't understand that those laws that we are keeping, that Igbo land is a theocracy, that we deal with laws, God's law, the laws of the Most High, that's what we deal with. We are not a democracy, we're not a republic, we're a theocracy. If you don't understand this, then you will not understand why the Osu system was done. And that is why people go all over YouTube and they make videos and insult our tribe, saying that we are evil people because of the Osu system. Just because those people don't have the little bit of knowledge that is required to understand what their fathers did, what they did. I want to put this out there. I know it sounds contradictory that you need to read the Bible to understand the Igbo Omenani, but that's just what it is. I'm not the first to have said it, and I won't be the last. Lots of people, 300 years ago, the first Igbo man to write a book, he wrote it clearly. We are all not stupid. We've not been stupid from 300 years ago till now. I will enjoin each and every one of you, Igbo person, wherever you are. Forget about any other part of the Bible. Just read the first 5 books. Read it and tell me if you don't see the names of your village or a village near you, if you don't see the traditions that your father has kept in Igbo land, then there's something wrong. May the Most High bless you. Salam.